Back in 2022, Nvidia released the 40 series GPUs and claimed that Moore's Law is dead and nothing can compare. That's when AMD came around and said, nope, these bombshells are something else. We got the 7900 XT, okay? Now this was trading blows with the 4080 at $300 less. Nowadays, it's 2026 and there's a new generation. So is it worth buying last gen stuff or should you just upgrade? Let's find out in today's video. All right, so I first wanted to talk about the performance leaps between the 6800, which is the graphics card that I last had, and the 7900 XT. So we can kind of see the performance differences between last gens and, well, I guess current gen, because you really can't get your hands on any of the new gen stuff right now. With RDNA 3, there is a 54% improvement from RDNA 2, okay? Now going up to RDNA 4, there's a 40% improvement, so keep that in mind. If you are thinking about getting the 9070 XT, there is going to be a roughly 40% more improvement from what you are looking at right now, okay? So if you're wanting to spend that extra couple of $100s, keep that in mind, okay? But there is just some insane technology here, okay? This is the first GPU that has a separate chiplet design, and I'm pretty sure it is for the memory chips, which I can't even comprehend this. This is 5.3 terabytes a second for the speed of these chips, okay? Now, power consumption on the other hand, oh God, it is hungry for watts, all right? I was able to get up to 354 watts on this TDP, okay? Now wrapping to the aesthetics of the card, man, oh man, she looking pretty. This is a very good looking card, okay? I thought the 6800 card looked great, and there is one caveat that I will get into in a second, but besides that, this card looks phenomenal, okay? Now, as you're seeing in this footage right here, it is a little bit bigger than the last generations. This is still technically a 2 slot, but it's a 3 slot because it kind of takes up the 3rd slot a little bit. It's like a 2.5 slot, kind of. All right, now that the specs are taken care of, let's get into some real performance graphs. Now, bear with me, I know they're graphs, but I will put some gameplay over this. Now, I really want to show you the differences between RDNA 2 and RDNA 3, because that 55% or 54% performance uplift really shows. And once I come back after this, I'll show you some bar graphs and wow, you'll see the difference, all right? Let's get into it. All right, now that we are back, I really wanted to show you these bar graphs, okay? Because look at Cyberpunk 2077 with ray tracing off. you got, and as you saw with the FPS, we got an average of 63 with the 6800, which is still really good. That's pretty playable at ultra settings, 1440p. But as soon as we get into the 7900 XT, it just is like, all right, no problem. We got 100. I saw it jump up to 140 FPS when it was looking at the sky. I mean, obviously. But anyway, going on to ray tracing on, okay, this is where you really see those ray tracing cores kick in and blow the RDNA 2 out of the water, okay? Because look at this, 22 FPS average for the 6800 up to almost 50, okay? I was actually getting about 50 and it was jumping to like 47, so that's why it says 47, but about 50 FPS. Ultra settings, ray tracing on, 1440p. God, with Cyberpunk, if you would have did that when it first came out, nothing could compare. Nvidia. Up next though, we do have Battlefield 6 on ultra settings, okay? Look at this, 92 FPS average on the 6800, which is still really, really good. And keep in mind, the 6800 compares to the 3070, I believe. So if you have an RTX 3070, this is pretty much the performance lift that you're going to get, because with the 7900 XT, you get 120. And honestly, it was actually getting 130 average, but because of those environmental differences, I was honestly getting a little bit lower once I was getting outside and into the big environment. But what surprises me is the 1% lows. These are actually a lot closer than I thought. Now, I think this has to do with the engine and how Battlefield 6 over the last couple of months has gotten a lot better optimization for lower end hardware. So this really does show, like, for the 1% lows, I really wasn't stuttering that much with the 6800, and so that really wasn't that much of an issue. But switching over from Battlefield to Assetto Corsa VR, wow, you can really see how RDNA 3 is just blowing it out of the water, okay? The average FPS for 6800 was 47 versus 60. Keep in mind, this is the same exact settings, even on my Quest 3S. I had 120 hertz set, so when ASW kicked in, for the 7900 XT, it was no problem, okay? It just stuck to 60 hertz. But with the 6800, oh boy, it settled at 40-ish FPS with a shit ton of stuttering, might I say. Now, it doesn't really show on the 1% lows right here because it's at 37 to 47, but I want to show you the difference. 60 FPS to 54, okay? That's only a 6 FPS difference. Now going from 47 to 37, that's a 10 FPS difference. It's not that bad, right? Right? No, it's terrible, okay? For frame time, if you're even a millisecond above that 11 millisecond frame time cap, you just suffer majorly with Assetto Corsa and with any VR game. So please keep that in mind with the lower gen hardware. If you are, struggling with VR gaming, you might want to switch to a newer gen GPU, whether that be Nvidia or AMD. Like, the newer generations just handle VR so much better, especially at these higher frame rates and at these higher graphical settings. And then going to Arc Raiders for Ultra, again, 1440p. This is a ray tracing title, so this really does show the RDNA 3 again, because wow, 62 FPS average on the 6800 compared to 95 on the 7900 XT. Wow, okay, this is just unbelievable, okay? 60 FPS is playable, but 90 FPS, you are really getting into this is smooth, okay? Now, this is really where I'm a little confused or a little surprised, because on my graphs, it shows that there is a little bit more of a gap on the 1% lows and the 0.1% lows for the 7900 XT versus the 6800 XT. But I was seeing a lot more stuttering on the 6800 XT versus the 7900 XT, and I think that is the ray tracing. And I'm not sure if this shows on these graphs right here. I'm still trying to learn that. Like I said in my last part, if you have any idea on why that's happening, please post it down in the comments, because I'm still trying to get used to all these. And from what it sees on the graph right here, a bigger gap between 1% lows and 0.1% lows is better. But if that's wrong, please post that down in the comments. But what I do know is the higher is better for the 1% lows. So 65 FPS versus 47 FPS, that is major. And I think that's where I see the less stuttering. So before we sum up the video here, I did want to show you a little real world test right here in Cyberpunk. So, and as of right now, the card is sitting at 2530 at 309 watts, okay? Now, see, and this is where it confuses me with the Adrenaline software, because sometimes it wants to push it all the way up to 350 watts, and I can get actually up to 29 to 30,000 megahertz. So 3 gigahertz I can get with this card in gameplay, in raw gameplay, and it's fine. See, this is even interesting for me because it's like, it's almost like you have to restart the game sometimes for it to be able to catch. Now, keep in mind, the ray tracing was also on for this beforehand, so I made sure to turn it off now before I started the game. See? 2777, 2781, and look at this, 354. Okay, right there. That's where you want to be. And we've actually gained, I'm not sure if you guys can see up there, but we've actually gained an additional 10 FPS just by doing that. But with all of that said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video as much as I enjoyed making it, because man, oh man, I love gaming. I love getting new tech equipment, and making videos about it just beautiful. Okay, so if you guys enjoyed, comment down below what you did enjoy and what you guys want to see in the next video. Comment also down below if I did get anything wrong. I may have, so be nice, but you know, hey, constructive criticism always helps. So I love you guys. Hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace out.